Hey everybody, this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. Let me tell you when we're going to go back to meeting in person on the campus of Columbus State University at the Cunningham Center. Now this decision is a long time coming. I've been looking forward to making this announcement. You've been looking forward to hearing this announcement. But there's been a lot of hard work that's come together between Tammy Whorton, she is the director of the Cunningham Center, and our church. And we've decided that September 6th, that's the first Sunday in September, we will go back to meeting in person. Now, some of what I'm going to tell you next has been decided for us, decisions that were made by the Cunningham Center and the campus of Columbus State University, but some of these decisions we're placing on ourselves to try to be as safe and as healthy as possible. I do want you tonight, when you go to bed, to thank God for Tammy Whorton. This lady, the director of the Cunningham Center, has worked tirelessly on your behalf. You may have never even met her before. She's a committed Christian, and she understands just how challenging this is for a church plant that just got started and then in March had to go to online only. And so she has been fighting on your behalf for months, and I just want to publicly thank her for continuing to ask on our behalf for concessions to be made for Two Cities Church. So I now want to manage expectations because September is not going to feel like February. In fact, I long for us to be able to be where we were in February and even better than that today or in September. But September, I think, will be every bit as good. It may even be better. It's also going to be different though, and there's just no way around that. In fact, every church in the world feels a little bit different today than it did in January and February. Let me tell you some of the differences that are going to happen so that we can meet together in person. I'm right now speaking to you from the Cunningham Conference Center. And this is the space that we started doing our worship services in back in January. But actually, if you've only watched us online, you may not be aware, we're in one small part of a very large ballroom. On the other side of this camera is a dividing wall and then a much larger space. We're about to transition out of this small space and into the much larger space. That's actually going to happen during the month of August, so that by the time we go back to meeting in person in September, we're already moved in and we're already settled into that much bigger space. But the reason why we're moving into that much bigger space is because we are going to be limited to the number of people that can meet in this building to just 50 people. That's 50. That limit is going to challenge the way that we do things. And one of the reasons why we're moving into that much bigger space is because we're being asked to maintain social distancing between families. And so we will be able to spread 50 chairs out in a much bigger space on the opposite side of this camera. Now, if you're a family, by all means, come together as a family, sit together as a family, get real close, worship together as a family. Mom, you can have your children bouncing on your lap during church. Mom, you can sit on Dad's lap during church if you want to. That's weird, but I guess you could do that if you want. I do want you to know, we've made the decision, this isn't being directed by us, but we've made the decision that we are not going to do childcare during the month of September. We want to make sure that we are prepared and can be healthy and all of our children can be safe when we start doing childcare. So for the first month, we're just not going to offer childcare. We're going to ask everybody in the family to come together and to sit together in family groups in the meeting space in the Cunningham Center. We're still going to welcome guests when they come in the door. We're also going to provide refreshments. It's not going to be coffee and donuts. We're going to buy individually wrapped packages of snacks, and we're going to buy bottles of cold drinks for people to grab when they come in the room. But we're still going to do everything we can to make people feel comfortable and feel loved when they show up in this room. We are being asked that while you're in this building, everybody is being asked to wear a mask. I realize that's going to feel a little bit awkward, and we hope that that mask requirement doesn't last for long. We hope that the number of 50 people in September doesn't last for very long. We hope that as the virus gets more contained and as we understand what it might do on the campus of CSU, that we'll be able to go to bigger crowds. But for September at least, we are being asked to maintain social distancing, wear masks, and to limit the number of people on a Sunday morning to 50 people. Our church has been purchasing health and safety equipment. The Cunningham Center has been purchasing health and safety equipment. We bought hand sanitizer, we bought masks, we bought gloves, we have bought ultraviolet wands to be able to sterilize everything before children come in or after families leave when we do start doing childcare. We've even bought the forehead thermometers. And then the Cunningham Center has all of those things, and they've taken it a step further. They have electrostatic sterilizing machines that they will use in this building before you get in here. They're even going to install a walk-through thermometer of sorts so that you will know before you, as soon as you walk through that walk-through scanner, whether or not you have an unusually high temperature. Please hear what I'm going to say next. And I hope that you believe what I'm saying. We don't want anyone to feel any pressure to come back to meeting in person. If you're concerned about your health, if you're still not sure that it's safe to meet together in groups, even after I've described all that we bought and all that we're going to do to keep you healthy, if you just feel like, Jeff, I'm not ready to come back in person until there's a vaccine for this virus, I totally understand. We completely support that. And I want you to feel comfortable staying at home. Listen to these words and have no guilt about it whatsoever. I won't make you feel guilty. Don't let anybody else from our church or another church make you feel guilty. Please stay home if you don't feel comfortable being in groups of 50 right now. It's totally fine. We want you to feel comfortable staying home and not feel guilty about it at all. Listen, I'm going to wrap up by telling you what God has been doing in our midst since we stopped meeting together in big groups and went to meeting online only. The Spirit of God has still been moving. He's been moving, I believe, in our online services. He's been moving in people's homes. People have been responding to the gospel. We have been able to minister to our neighborhoods, and people have been able to pray and receive Christ over the past several months, even in the midst of these very unusual times that we live in. And to God be all of the glory. By God's grace, when we went to online only and radically scaled back what we were using the Cunningham Center for, we didn't even ask this. Well, actually, I did ask this, but they graciously agreed to scale back significantly our lease agreement with them. And for the past almost 6 months, they have asked us to pay much less each month for the use of their facilities to broadcast than what we were paying when we were meeting together in a big group. Now, those prices are going to go right back up in September, but because they have asked for much less money, and listen to this, because people have remained connected to Two Cities Church, because they have continued to be faithful to give, we've been able to put some money aside, and we've been able to purchase some professional live streaming equipment that we've been assembling over the last 5 months. Some of this stuff is in high demand. Let me tell you, I had no plans, I had no idea that we would be able to buy the kind of equipment that we have. It's cost us almost $30,000. And I didn't think we would be in a position to buy that kind of equipment for 3, maybe 5 years. Because you've been faithful to give, and because our costs have gone back significantly over the last several months, we've been in a position where I could raise a little bit of money and we could spend some of what we saved by these lease costs and buy some equipment that we really need. It's being tested out right now, and when we get ready to go back to meeting in person, we hope that we're giving you a broadcast quality signal no matter where you're dialing in from. Now, many people are getting connected with our church from around the country. They're starting to feel like this is their church home, literally from around the world. And I want to thank those of you who are joining us from India, and the person that's joining us now from Johannesburg, South Africa, and the families that are deeply connected to our church from Connecticut and California and from New York. And I just want to say thank you for feeling comfortable enough with us to say, I really feel like this is a church that I can be connected to, even though they're miles away, and I may never see these people in person. One last thing, and then I'll stop talking. Over the past several months, I have been totally exhausted. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. A church plant needs a couple of things to be successful. More than anything else, the number one thing, it's actually this thing more than everything else combined, is it needs the presence of the living God. Because you've been faithful, because you have been prayerful, because you have remained connected and committed to Two Cities Church, I believe God has been blessing what we've been doing online for the past several months. Our groups are growing. People are going deeper in their faith and going through basic training and becoming leaders. And all of this, I believe, is because of the Holy Spirit of the living God moving in our midst, in our community, around the country, and around the world. But a church plant also needs a little bit of seed money, and then it needs an army of volunteers to carry out the hard work of the ministries of the church. And to be quite honest, for the last 5, almost 6 months, that army of volunteers hasn't been allowed. It's not that you didn't want to, but hasn't been allowed to come into the building and to serve. Which means for about the last 5 or 6 months, almost all of the work of this church has been done by me and by the assistant to our church. Her name is Rosie Osborne, who has been working tirelessly for the last 5 or 6 months. And y'all, it's exhausting. And I can't tell you how excited I am to get the team of volunteers back in place who care deeply about our community and about advancing the gospel, who are here ready to roll up their sleeves and to welcome people and to make this a place where they can experience a life-changing environment where they will meet with the living God and He will meet with them and move in their midst and mold them into the image of Christ. So this message is so long in coming, and I am so excited to tell you, starting on September 6th, the first Sunday in September, we're back, and we're back to meeting in person in the Cunningham Center. I am excited about where we are as a church, given all that's happened around the world and all that's happened because of the coronavirus. Man, I'm thrilled at where we are as a church right now in August. And I am very excited about what the future holds for us, both in person for those of you who live in our community, and online for the many families that are now getting connected with us from around the country and around the world. Just a short message to give you the information that you've been looking forward to on when we're meeting together again and what is it going to feel like. I can't wait to see you either in this room in September or to see you online again in September. God bless.